Happy Monday, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Sermon Break.
Welcome to Sermon Break.
Welcome to Sermon Break. We are coming off a really exciting week.
Yes, it was Love Week last week.
It was Love Week. Put it in the chat if you were there serving for Love Week. We were all across the city. We served at 60 events with different teams of volunteers, and our volunteers showed up.
Yes, shout out to all of our volunteers. Love Week would not have been possible without you, but the way that our Special Forces team showed up, huge shout out to our Special Forces team.
And our Special Forces team is the team that gets everything set up for on-campus events. They deliver things. They drop things off if they've been forgotten. Shout out to that team. It was really special. We packed over 60,000 meals, thousands of hygiene kits and snack packs, 400 backpacks, and all these supplies are going to our outreach partners like Regeneration Outreach, Young Street Mission, the Scott Mission, Wood Green, Fred Victor, so many partners all across the Greater Toronto area, and we're just so grateful. We had to shout out Love Week because it was the best. It was the best week. I think one of my most favorite things I'm always going to remember is just the connections with all the different volunteers. Shout out to Elsa. I volunteered with her multiple days. We got to have a big, long conversation at Furniture Bank, which I was so thankful for. But I met one person at the Waterfront Neighborhood Center, and her name was Jane. She's been watching online for quite some time, and she signed up to serve, but she had never been to our campus physically, and she came on Sunday, and I got to shout her out from stage, and it was just so cool because I love that these outreach events connect people back to the church and connect them to Jesus, which is awesome.
Yes, there were so many incredible connections made last week, and I was telling Kristen that one of my favorite moments or my highlight from Love Week this year is that we have the opportunity to go into these organizations and partner with them throughout the year. And because of our consistency, we get to make connections and build relationships with the people that are accessing the services of these organizations all the time. And so there's one gentleman who everyone who served at Regen this week met him.
He was so sweet. It was my first time meeting him.
He's so kind, and it was such an honor and privilege to get to introduce people to him and just see him coming back time and time again when we are there serving. So
I love that. I love the connection that you've made with him specifically. I think it just shows I don't know, so much of who you are and just your ability to make people feel so known and loved, because he was gushing about you, right? And so excited to see you again. So it's just really amazing, the connections that we got to make. And then this sermon this past week was amazing.
So good.
Just this idea of again, God shows up again and again and again. And all I can think about is we did Love Week, but God's going to show up again in our new campus launch happening August 13th of Toronto East. And just that there's more miracles. And if God did it, then he will do it again. So I thought it was so timely and so perfect. And I loved having Taya with us.
Yes.
She was awesome. That song Oceans, Stephen has a whole story about that. You'll have to ask him about it because he'll want to tell you, but I just know it was super special for him when he launched this campus, and now to hear Oceans again, right about 2 weeks away from launching our Toronto East location. We cannot be more excited. But one thing that Pastor said, just as like a funny note, he was talking about in the sermon, Elijah asking Holly, "Oh, you're making chili again?" And he was like, "Oh, chili again?" And I just want to know, what's one food that you could eat again and again and again, and put it in the chat too.
I would probably say pasta. Probably pasta. But I love when my mom makes chili. I think though, probably when I was like Elijah, Graham, Abby's age, I definitely was saying that. Like, "Oh, you're making chili again?" But it's just such a good
It's such a good staple.
Food. Yes, it's so good.
Stephen and I, we made chili a lot during when we were locked down in our houses. We got this really great chili recipe, and we always made it. It became a staple in our house. And I actually was so thankful because it was so good and it was so easy. You just put it in the crock pot, you leave it all day. And I don't think I've made it for a long time now, but it was so good. For me, it's definitely French fries. I am ready.
That's not a meal, but it's not a meal.
I'm ready for French fries at any point. People know that if they're eating French fries, I probably want some. So I think I would say I have more again in like a good way. But I love pasta too. All the carbohydrates.
For sure.
Come my way.
I'm seeing so many different comments in the chat: chicken, pasta, sushi, lasagna, sushi and pasta, chicken tenders. Yeah. poutine.
Chicken tenders is a staple.
Chicken tenders is a staple.
I feel like anyone could eat that all the time,
Yes.
again and again and again.
Pastor Steven's asking, is it the ketchup or the fries?
I know, he knows I love ketchup so much. And my daughter Grace is starting to like ketchup too. And I'm like, yeah, it's because she sees me eating it all the time.
Oh,
It's
boy.
funny how they learn
Yes.
what we do. It's so funny. All right, well, let's get into the sermon a little bit deeper. Check out this clip, put your sermon takeaway in the chat, and we'll come back and talk about it. So check this out.
They said, I just keep feeling like this is the one that got away. And I looked back and said, stop saying that. It's not the one that got away. It's the one that got you ready. God in Zion. It's not the one that got away. Every time you let the nets down and it came up empty and you let them down and it came up empty and you let them down and it came up empty, all it was doing was holding the place. So when Jesus shows up, you'll be ready for what's on the other side of the boat.
I loved that clip.
Me
that
too.
was definitely one of my favorite highlights from Pastor's sermon. The whole thing was incredible, but when he was talking about preparation, as you guys know, if you've joined us, prepare is my word this year. And I feel like I've been in truly a season of preparation. And so when Pastor was talking about all the times where you let down your nets and it comes up empty and you let them down, it comes up empty, that it was really just preparation for what God has planned for you on the other side of the boat.
Right. I don't know about you, but I know for me, I can get so discouraged time and time again when I feel like I've missed opportunities or I've let something go or something's not happening the way that I've expected it to. And he really gave me language of it's the one that's getting you ready. It's almost like there's this necessary step that needs to happen before the blessing comes. And if I could just look at my situations that this is necessary and this is preparation because the blessing is going to come on the other side because I have a good father, I feel like that's going to help me. So I don't know if that's the same for you, but really just because my default, and he even said it too, can be maybe negativity or grumbling about something or really worried about something. But he reminded us not to worry, but to trust the process and to trust the preparation and that God wants you to come to him.
Yeah, I love that. And I love when Pastor used the basketball reference. He said, nothing but nets. And actually, Kristen, I want to know, do you know what that phrase means?
No, I don't, okay? Calling me out. No, okay? I'm not a big sports person, okay? I'm more on the reading, the writing kind of side of things.
So nothing but net means when you throw the ball in and it doesn't hit the rim or anything, it just goes right through the net. And it's actually a good thing. In basketball, that's a good reference. But Pastor was saying it's not nothing but net, but to really focus on nothing but next.
Yeah.
And looking at the next thing that's coming, that there is something on the other side, that it is preparation. He was referencing how Peter had put down the nets and was coming up with nothing but net.
Yeah.
So I love that reference as well.
That's so good. I wish I understood more. I wish I understood more basketball. He got me with the cover the spread the other week. I never heard that. And now it's nothing but net. So look at all these things that you learn. You can learn life things and spiritual things. But I really liked when he said, when you ask God, you presume, when you're asking him, it's God. We're presuming we know his power and God isn't looking at us saying, oh, again, Kristen, you're asking me for this again. Right. He's saying like, okay, like again, like keep asking me, like, let me show up in your life. And I think that's just so good because I know for me, I can get really down on myself that I'm back at God saying, I'm struggling with this again, or I don't know how to fix this again. But to know that he wants that, because the biggest thing God wants from us is our surrender, our communion with him. How am I becoming more like him by spending time with him? I don't know. That was just so reassuring to me. And I feel like I know it, but just to get that reminder that God isn't upset with me or frustrated by me. It's just a way for me to connect with him and get down on my knees and bow my head again, being like, okay, God, help me. I need you.
Yeah. And it really does complement him, and it complements his sovereignty and his power. And like you were saying, it shows that we're assuming that he does have that power.
Yeah.
We know that he has that power. One of the scriptures that Pastor shared was in Hebrews 11:6. And you can pull it up and we'll read it together. It says, and without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. And those are the moments when we are earnestly seeking him. It says that there's a reward for us and that he wants to reward us in those moments. So I love how Pastor was pairing that with when we go to him, it complements his sovereignty, it complements who God is, it complements his power, but it also is that there is a reward in that communion with God.
Yeah, I think that's great. I love that word earnestly. I'm like looking at it up on the screen. But even Pastor talked about it. You can't just expect that you're going to get what you need from God if you just meet with him on Sundays.
Right.
Like it needs to be a daily decision that you're making, those habits that you're making. And I know we were just in a really busy week.
Yes.
But I did question myself so many times, and I checked myself and I checked my heart. How am I seeking God in this moment? So it would be Stephen and I turning on a worship song in the car. It would be taking a moment in the morning to stop what I'm doing and praying before I set out the day. Like, it's not always going to look like a big, long prayer session, but God sees your heart and he sees the little things that you're doing. I also mentioned how I went to a conference recently, and every single night before bed, I made sure that I was getting in that word and I was on my knees praying and really trying to seek him, because I really needed him. I really needed him to get me through, and I need him all the time. And I love that posture, because you really can see him work. And when you do put that time to listen to what he's saying to you, you will get something. You will get filled. It's not a show. No. It's not like a magic thing, but it's when you earnestly seek him, he does show up. He wants to be by your side in everything.
Yes. And again and again and again. But we also need to be showing up again and again and again in our relationship with him.
I love the story of the prodigal son too. I never noticed the flip of how the son thought that the father would be against him, but then no, even his father said, no, again, let me hold you, run into my arms. I have blessings towards you. It was just such a great flip that Pastor made. And again, something that I'm going to remember and focus on as I go about my week.
Yes.
Miriam, I love what you're saying. Immaturity is doing something once in a while and wondering why it didn't work. It's this whole idea of being diligent with it and consistency. Like, your roots can only grow deep if you're doing something diligently. And if your roots are shallow, you're just going to fall over and collapse. Like, you need that deep root system with God so that it can sustain you when those storms come, when those winds come. Like, you have something that will sustain you. I thought that was a really good reminder too.
Yeah. And even in those seasons of waiting, and one thing that Pastor said was, what you call his slowness is actually his love and his steadiness to prepare you.
So good.
And that's where those roots are so important, where earnestly and diligently seeking him is so important, because we don't have that perspective when we're not earnestly seeking him or diligently seeking him. We just see it as slowness, and then we get frustrated with God, or we're asking God, why am I waiting still? What is going on? But God's like, when you're able to earnestly seek me, I can show you that it's my love for you, that it's my preparation for you. It has nothing to do with that he's against you or that he's not for you, but really that it's all about preparation.
Slowness is a good thing. And this is something that you and we talk about a lot, that instant platforms or instant influence, it's actually not good.
Right.
And I think back to even things that Stephen and I did many years ago. I'm like, oh, thank goodness no one saw this or read it, because it's not very good, or different things that we put out, because there is a time of preparation that needs to happen. There is something that needs to happen in you before God either blesses you or elevates you or gives you the thing that you're wanting. So I've really been challenged, and maybe it's because your word is preparation. I get to live through it a little bit too, that these things that I'm waiting on, they're there for a reason, and it's actually for my good. It's not to harm me or to get me frustrated or to get me angry or to say God isn't a good God. It's saying, no, like, he's helping me. He's going to make me a better person, and I might not see it now, but one day I am going to turn around and see his goodness.
Yeah. I love that. Well, there was a huge action step. There was many action steps that Pastor shared in the sermon. So if you have not watched the sermon yet, we would highly, highly encourage you go back and watch it, or watch it again and again. But one of them that Pastor shared at the beginning was rehearsing God's past faithfulness. And this isn't the first time that he shared this with us, but we really want to challenge you to focus on that this week. go back and look at God's past faithfulness, even in your own life. He has been so faithful to even bring you to this point, to give you salvation, to show you and give you blessings throughout the years. So really go back and rehearse his past faithfulness and know that he will do it again.
Something that we're doing even with Love Week is we're going to write down every great thing that we saw happen so that we can focus on his faithfulness, focus on his goodness. So when we need that fuel, we know, okay, look at how God came through. And I know this is our reassurance that he is going to come through again. And we're going to just thank him for everything that he's doing. And just take that one next step forward of, God, you are going to do it again, and you're going to do it. You're going to do it even greater. And I love that new song.
Yes.
Got to shout out that new song. I need to hear more of it. Who else loved that new song on here? Because it was so good. It was so good. Yeah. Nicole, I love start having more Christian friends in my life. That's so great. So important to surround yourself with a great community. We have lots of e-groups where you can meet people that can help you and walk with you on that journey, because we are not meant to do it alone.
No.
We have so many exciting things coming up.
So many exciting things.
Block party.
Yes.
August 13th. Okay. This is your opportunity to invite somebody out. We're going to be having inflatables and food here at our Mississauga location. And we're also going to be doing it in Toronto East, because that is the weekend that we are launching our brand new campus. And we can't wait.
We can't wait. There's also going to be an opportunity for baptism. So make sure, if you have it on your heart or you're looking to get baptized, there's a QR code that's coming up on the screen that you can go ahead and scan.
We cannot wait. Make sure you check out Pastor's The Basin.
Yes.
I want to see. I'm waiting if he's going to put more on the sermon on there, because that's a great way to just check in and just kind of figure out what God is speaking to you and go a little bit deeper with his messages. But it was a great Love Week. Still so much to look forward to. Summer is not over yet. I am not ready. We're just about to begin August. And I just know God is going to keep showing up again and again in our church. He's going to be faithful. And we're going to see him do bigger things than we can even ask or imagine.
Yes.
Ephesians 3:20.
Ephesians 3:20.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.